Okay, here we go. Got all my materials laid out here. Ready to finish this painting I started yesterday. 12 by 24 on linen. This is the Pinnacles in Western Wyoming. Right now I'm just, basically it's going to be pretty tedious to do the whole video because it's just me going around, adjusting edges, popping in a little bit of color value change, pushing and pulling, I guess is what we call it. Make things stand out or push things back. And like I say, it can be kind of tedious at this point. I mean, I really could, some people would have left the painting as it was and called it good. I like to take it just a little bit further. I'm working in an impressionistic style. This is not photorealistic, but it looks like what it's supposed to look like. One thing I noticed as I started reworking this today, just overnight, this paint's already tacked up quite a bit. I'm using the Utrecht brand artist oils, and generally it stays workable for a day or so, but I don't know, for some reason it was already pretty tacky this morning, which makes it a little more difficult to work over the top of. I mean, like I say, I usually like to work all in one go while the paint's still fresh, but with the things I had going on yesterday, I couldn't keep working on it. I had to stop and go run some errands, take my kids to practice, that kind of thing, so it kind of disrupted my workflow. No complaints though. I mean, it's just art, right? So I mean, I get to do what I love to do. Working on these sagebrush in the foreground here, just building up from the shadows, adding some little value and color change to build some texture, create some interest there. I'm not really looking to make that a focal point, just to lead in, going back to the mountains there. This point this morning on the work here is about 45 minutes I spent, which I've edited down for brevity. Nobody wants to sit and watch me paint for all that time, just making little dabs of paint, mixing color. Spend a lot of time mixing color and getting your values here to just, you don't ever want your value of the shape that you're in, like the shape of the trees there, it's an all dark value. You don't want to add anything into that's too light of a value that would just jump out. It's just would ruin that value shape. So you keep your value, your dark and light values in that shape pretty close. And then, like you say, there's basically 4 value shapes here. You got the dark values of the trees, the middle value of the mountains in the distance. The next value would be the horizontal plane in the foreground going back in the distance, and then the lightest value is the sky. So you don't want any one of those 4 shapes to have anything contained in it that just pops out more than one of the other value shapes, if I can explain that so you can understand. It took me a while to grasp that, because that's one of the things I struggled with initially is, especially when you paint plein air and the highlights like on leaves and stuff on a tree, you want to just like blast those highlights in there. Well, when you do that, then that loses the structure of that value shape, and you're sitting there looking like, wonder why this painting isn't working. It's because you have a value contained in a value shape that shouldn't be there. It may look like it's there in reality, and it probably does, but we can't paint reality exactly. We have to get as close to the representation as we can. But if we blast those highlights in a space like that, then it just doesn't work. So that's the biggest thing to learn, is maintaining your value structure. as I'm getting close to the finish on this, here I'm working around the center of interest. So, that's going to be a little more developed. It's a simple thing. It's a very simple design. There's, no real high detail or anything. It's just, that's where your eye goes. I'm directing your eye to there. So you just want to make sure you tidy that up. Like I say, that's in the distance, so there's not going to be a lot of detail. What I'm going for here is the atmospheric perspective. Those mountains in the distance and that sun just washing across there after this rain cloud had passed over. It was a really pretty time there. There's a rainbow that came out. This is like in August, in the fall, so the fall colors hadn't come on up there in the mountains yet. So here it is, finished painting. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.